I wasn't planning to stop at the garage sale, but there was something about the setup that drew me in. Old toys, dusty paintings, a rack of strange clothes. It was a goldmine for someone who liked odd, forgotten things. I wandered over to a rickety table piled with VHS tapes. Most of them were movies I never heard of, low budget horror and faded children's films. But one tape laying half buried caught my eye. The label was smeared and hard to read, but I could just make out the word home. I picked it up, the plastic slightly tacky with age. The old man running the sale saw me. He looked and grinned. "You're a brave one," he muttered, almost to himself. Before I could ask him what he meant, he waved his hand, dismissing me. Curiosity overruled good sense, and I handed over $1, took the tape home, and dusted off my old VCR. I popped it in, and the screen flashed to life with a blur of static, then gradually an image sharpened. A cozy living room, dimly lit by a single lamp. I squinted, feeling an odd sense of familiarity. A man appeared on screen wearing an outdated sweater, his face turned away from the camera. He was muttering something, but the audio was warped, as though someone was fast-forwarding and rewinding it at random. The man slowly turned his face to the camera, his expression blank, almost lifeless, but then his eyes shifted. I swear he was looking right at me. He held up a small photo. I leaned closer to make out the details. It was a picture of my living room. The video cut to static again, but before I could turn it off, it resumed. A different scene. This time it was my own street, panning slowly down until it stopped in front of my house. The footage kept playing, but my mind struggled to keep up. How could this be my house? I felt that creeping unease, the kind where somewhere between curiosity and dread tingling up my spine as I watched. The camera zoomed in, shaky and unfocused, until it settled on my living room window. There, a figure stood motionless in the dark. I squinted, my pulse pounding. The figure in the video, it was me. I was standing by the window, looking out into the night, staring blankly, my face half hidden in the shadow. The screen flickered again. Now I was somewhere else, a room I didn't recognize, bare except for a chair and a tall lamp, casting an eerie yellow light. The man from the first scene, with his blank stare, was back. This time he sat in the chair, silent, watching something just off camera. He reached down beside the chair and lifted a glass, then took a slow, deliberate sip. Then he spoke, his voice low, distorted, almost like a growl. "Why are you watching this?" A chill swept through me. The question felt as if it had been directed right at me, like he somehow knew I was here in my living room, alone, in the dark. The man tilted his head slightly, as if waiting for an answer. The screen went black. I waited, the silence of my empty house pressing in around me. I should have turned it off then, but I couldn't. It was as if the tape had a hold on me, its grainy images burning into my mind, urging me to press forward. The video flickered back on, and now it showed footage of my bedroom, filmed from the other side of the door. I recognized the faint light from the street lamp outside, casting a familiar shadow on the walls. My heart raced as I watched myself sleep in bed, my face soft and unaware. The camera stayed on me for minutes long, agonizing minutes. But then there was a movement in the corner of the screen. The camera panned slowly, revealing a shadowy figure standing in the hallway just out of sight. I was frozen, the VHS remote tightly in my grip, barely breathing as the figure crept closer. In the dim light, I could make out its face. It was the same man from earlier, his blank stare now fixed on my sleeping form. The scene shifted abruptly again. Now I was in my kitchen, washing dishes. My back turned to the camera, the man watched silently from the hallway. And though I was obviously on screen, I felt my skin prickle. The scene played out in tense silence, his watchful presence lingering, a shadow following me through the mundane moments. Then, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, the tape cut to black once more. I let out a shaky breath, but something kept me from stopping it. I waited, the silence stretching thick and oppressive. Finally, the screen flickered back on one last time. It was my living room, only now it was live. The time on the clock and the footage matched mine exactly. A ripple of horror washed over me as I realized I was watching a live feed of my own house. The camera was moving slowly, panning from wall to wall, almost like it was searching. It stopped at the doorway. I stared wide-eyed as footsteps echoed faintly through my house. The door creaked open on the screen, and then my breath hitched. I heard the same sound faintly just behind me. The tape continued to roll, but I was no longer watching. I turned slowly, heart hammering, to see the stark figure standing at the edge of my living room, his expression in a blank, unsettling stare, and then the tape clicked off, leaving me in silence.